Hey, thanks for clicking in. So if you're still thinking about moving to Fort Lauderdale or the surrounding areas, let's look at Fort Lauderdale now by Google Map. So, some of my other videos, I'm walking around the neighborhood, I'm showing you stuff from the car, this and that. Today, we're going to be looking at the Google Map for those of you who are like me and like to see maps. I love maps. So anyway, my name's Amy. I am a realtor here in Fort Lauderdale in the general area, all the way down to the Keys, up to Boca. And I'm just trying to familiarize you with Fort Lauderdale before you make a move here to make sure that it is that you get into the right investment that you need. So I used to be an attorney, and now I am a full-time real estate agent. So I like to say that I'm out of the office and into the streets out there to help you find the best deal. So here we go. Let's look at the Google map. Okay, so now we're going to look at the Google Maps view, the aerial view of this gorgeous city of Fort Lauderdale. So forgive me while I put my glasses on so I can see what I'm looking at here. Okay, zoom out. And I like to show, first of all, pros and cons of Fort Lauderdale. The biggest pro about this city is the water. So we have the gorgeous Atlantic Ocean. And then when you come into the city through the Port Everglades Inlet, you go into all of these little waterways and canals. The New River, which goes right through downtown. And then up here, the Intracoastal Waterway, which goes into other waterfront properties. And up the Intracoastal all the way, more waterfront properties and close to the beach. So it's just fabulous. But there's two ways that you can get from the ocean into all of these fabulous little waterways where you want to go to your place, to where you're living, to eat, to drink, to do all the things on land. So to get out of that ocean and to get to the land, you go in this way. Let me show you this. Right here is the Port Everglades. That's where the cruise ships leave from. That's where all the big cargo ships come in. It's a huge port. So, and that's our ingress and egress for the city of Fort Lauderdale. You can come in through Hillsborough Inlet, but I'll show you how far up the road that is. So anyway, you come in and you go to your house, you go to eat, you go up the Intracoastal Waterway, whatever you want to do. That's the way to do it, but you gotta come in here. Then the next best place to get out of the ocean and into land is up to Pompano Beach at the Hillsborough Inlet up here. So the Hillsborough Inlet, get out of the way there, is right here. So that's where you would also come in with your boat. And you'll do the same thing down the Intracoastal Waterway to all the places that you want to go to. So just remember that when you're out on a boat, you got two ways to get to land. The Hillsborough Inlet, and there's a gorgeous lighthouse there. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's a fabulous place. The inlet's a little rough there because it's narrow. So, and it doesn't have all the cruise ships and stuff. It's narrow, it's more shallow. So you better be a good boater if you're going to go in and out of that inlet. And scrolling on down past the barrier island of Fort Lauderdale, you have Port Everglades. So those are the two ways in and out. And now, if we zoom in, I can show you the New River. So the New River runs from the inlet all the way like this. Hey, what's going on? I'm not great with this. This is a natural river that runs right through downtown Fort Lauderdale. And this here is the South Fork of the New River. And up here is the North Fork of the New River. So that's really how the river flows. And then it'll dump. You got a little bit flowing this way. And these are Lauderdale Isles. These are fabulous little waterfront homes over here too. And then it's going to start running into the canals created by the Army Corps of Engineers. And it will eventually go to the Everglades, but it's quite a long journey. But this is the part that attracts people and that really is amazing. It's a wonderful part of living here. So that's the inlet and the outlet and the main river. And then off of the river, we have all of these little isles. You see them all? Look at them all there. So these are the Las Olas Isles, 7 isles. This is the priciest real estate in the city, really. And here, Harbor Beach, all of this here is probably the priciest real estate in Fort Lauderdale. $2 million maybe for a tear down, and then up to $60 million, depending upon what your view is, what the house is, how much land it's sitting on. But it's absolutely gorgeous. This here is Las Olas Boulevard, that when you're in town and you drive on Las Olas Boulevard, just take a look to the left, to the right, go up the streets, have a look at the houses, and let me know if you want to buy any of the properties on the Isles or in Idlewild. I'm happy to show you those properties and negotiate for you on those. So that's the water. I wanted to bring you up to date with the water. So the other thing that I think is very important to know if you're not familiar with Fort Lauderdale and you're trying to get around is know how the city is cut up. So Andrews Avenue separates east from west, and Broward Boulevard separates north from south. So we've got Broward Boulevard right here. And I'm going to take you from 95 and you just go Broward Boulevard. That's it. So just take that line and run it all the way through Fort Lauderdale. And that is the north, separates the north from the south. Let me see if I can try that again and zoom out. Oh, there it is. Cool. Now, if I zoom out, it's probably gonna, but you can see that the point is that there's not a lot south. Most of the real estate in Fort Lauderdale is north of Broward Boulevard. Now, our other important street to know about is Andrews Avenue. So that says Northeast Third. There's North Andrews there. So it's North Andrews there because we're north of Broward Boulevard, and south of Broward Boulevard is South Andrews. So Andrews Avenue, just follow it the whole way in and out of the city, and then you're going to be over here. You're going to be in the west end of West Fort Lauderdale. And if you're north of Broward, you're going to be in Northwest Fort Lauderdale. If you're north of Broward and east of Andrews, you're in Northeast. And if you're south of Broward, but east of Andrews, you're in Southeast section of town. And if you're west of Andrews and south of Broward, you're in the southwest section of town. Every section of town is fabulous and has different things to offer, but it's very helpful if you know the north, south, and east-west dividers, because it's pretty much a grid system. When you ask somebody, what's your address? They're going to tell you 1421 Northeast 16th Street. Well, you're going to know then Northeast, it's east of Andrews and north of Broward. That's a good start. You're getting in the quadrant. And then you just do the grid system. It's pretty easy. Sometimes water will get in your way, but that's what we have GPS for, right? So, but it's important to know that anyway, so you know what part of town you're going to. What else is important about Lauderdale? I would like to tell you about the road system. It's very good. So we have our main arteries are starting from the west end of Fort Lauderdale, the Turnpike. The Florida Turnpike runs right over here. You're still in Fort Lauderdale in parts of it. Then we have Interstate 595. That's your east-west. That's your best east-west road. Nice, easy highway. It'll get clogged up a little bit during rush hour. And rush hour basically starts at 3 in the afternoon, just so you know, and about 7 in the morning. 441 is another well-traveled road in Fort Lauderdale. There's a lot of, places to, get your car fixed, go shopping, a lot of small businesses on this road. And then, of course, we have the infamous I-95. So there's I-95. So that's how mainly people come to Fort Lauderdale from other states, especially from the East Coast. They're coming up and down 95 and the Turnpike. And the east-west road here, this 595, brings you over into the suburbs of Fort Lauderdale, like Plantation and Weston and stuff. And if you follow that all the way, you'll drop off into Alligator Alley and you'll end up in Naples, Florida, over on the Gulf Coast. It's a lovely road. And then the other one is US 1, and US 1 is where you're going to find a lot of shopping and, the big franchise stores, the car dealerships. That's our big main commercial city street. And then we have Las Olas Boulevard, which is one of the prettiest ways to get to the beach. Broward Boulevard here, again, that's our north-south divider. Davie Boulevard. The main roads that people use are those that exits off of 95. So you've got Marina Mile, a lot of the new Port 32, the huge mega yacht marinas are over on this end of town here, just west of 95, off of Marina Mile Road, State Road 84. Then if we keep on going north and you're on 95, Broward. Another one is Sunrise Boulevard to get to the beach. And all of these 95 exits, Sunrise, Broward, Oakland Park Boulevard, Commercial Boulevard, they're going to take you across the Intracoastal Waterway as well. And that will take you over to the Barrier Island. So Fort Lauderdale Beach is actually a barrier island, as you can see. Okay, I'm starting at the inlet and the barrier island. Let me zoom out here a minute. Get out of there. Zoom out, zoom out. Move it over. Okay, I'm going to show you the barrier island of Fort Lauderdale. So it's really like this, you see? And then the intracoastal highway, I guess it's a highway for boats. I'm following the intracoastal, and then down like this. So that's basically Fort Lauderdale Beach, what's known as Fort Lauderdale Beach. We have South Beach, Central Beach, and North Beach. So North Beach is actually here by Hugh Taylor. This is up by Lauderdale by the sea, and then the next thing you know, you're in Pompano Beach. So this is actually a barrier island. So this is a lot of condos. There are some areas here where there's single family homes, but it's primarily condo living because everybody wants a view of the ocean. So how do you give everybody a view of the ocean? You go vertical. And that's what they did. So I don't know if there's anything else I really wanted to tell you about in Fort Lauderdale. The road system, the canal system, and then the neighborhoods. We can get into the neighborhoods a little bit too. So these are the aisles, which we did that already. That's the primo real estate right here, baby. Let's do it. Call me. I'll negotiate the hell out of them for you. Now, the downtown area is pretty much right here. It's going to be east of 95 between US 1 and 95. That's the downtown. That's what's considered the downtown area. And the downtown is really, really focused on the river. So again, we're going vertical here. There are some neighborhoods, see right in here, where we have single family homes and stuff. But when you're going along the river, it's mostly condos, especially around the Arts District. This is where the Arts District is as well. Sailboat Bend, Riverside. So that's the focal point there. Lots of condos. They're still going up. And the single family homes along the river are starting to come down, and townhomes and condos are going up. But there are still some single family homes that are making the cut. And then we have over here in this area, a sailboat. I like this Sailboat Bend and Riverside area. And then over here is called Citrus Isles, more waterfront property that's more affordable than over here in the Primo area. So we start with uber expensive, a little bit less, and still fabulous waterfront properties with no fixed bridges. So these neighborhoods, you can meander right on out to the ocean if you live in these areas, if you buy yourself some waterfront property with no fixed bridges. There are some bridges along the way, as you can see, but they're drawbridges. So that's, if you're looking for waterfront property, you have to, and you have a boat with that needs a high clearance, then you have to buy property on the water that has no fixed bridges. Otherwise, you're going to have to put your boat or yacht in storage, and that works fine too. Your boat captain will know what to do about that and where to find and negotiate the deals on that. If they can't help you, I can help you there too. Let's see what else. Oh, and the other thing that's really fabulous about Fort Lauderdale is the airport is right here. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Nice international airport, easy peasy from any part of the city. You just take a little US 1 or take 95 or 595 and you're there in less than a half hour. So I remember an economist years ago said, if you're going to buy real estate, buy with a property within 45 minutes of an international airport. So there you go. Fort Lauderdale, super close. The other thing that I like about Fort Lauderdale is its proximity to Hollywood, Highlandale, the Aventura Mall. Sunny Isles is a pretty amazing spot too, with the Porsche Design Tower, the Bentley Building, all that, Bal Harbor shops. And next thing you know, you're down in Miami Beach and Miami. So Fort Lauderdale is really like 35 minutes from Miami. It's wonderful. And then the other thing is super close to Pompano Beach, which is fun. It's super close to Boca and just a short ride up to Del Rey, which is hopping. And Lake Worth Beach is adorable. Little old wood homes. They're so cute. And West Palm Beach. So Fort Lauderdale's really conveniently located between Miami and West Palm Beach. So if you get tired of Fort Lauderdale, you have plenty of other places to go. Then you can just jump on that Alligator Alley, go across the Everglades, stop at the Billy Swamp Safari. So this is the Seminole Indian Reservation here. You go up Route 29, and there, look at this big cypress, Florida panther. This big cypress is the res for the Indians, right across 75. So that's 2 hour ride from Fort Lauderdale over to the West Coast, Naples, 2 hours, easy peasy. And then down here, 10,000 Islands, if you're a fisherman, easy peasy. Marco Island, Goodland, 10,000 Islands, Everglades City, one of my favorites, Chuckaluski, wonderful history there. Did you know, I don't know, sometime in the 80s, I think every man that lived in Chuckaluski was incarcerated because they were running drugs back then. They have an airstrip. But the way that the locals who did not do drugs, but they just knew how to get around and evade law enforcement because they knew their way around the waters. That's what they did because they made a lot of money doing it. So that's why a lot of the men were incarcerated, because they were helping the drug dealers evade the law enforcement. Because look at all this greenery is mangroves. It's crazy. That's why they call it 10,000 Islands. They go in and out with those little boats, and good luck catching them if you're not sure of the water, because the waters are shallow. There are oyster shoals in there, and it's a beautiful, relaxing place. Everglades City is a fabulous place to go to during stone crab season. They harvest the stone crab over here, as well as up at the top of Florida, but on our south end, that's where they harvest the stone crabs for those stone crab lovers. And then we have the Everglades National Park, which is absolutely gorgeous for nature lovers. They've actually built it out in the park, and they put like container homes up on concrete stilts, and they are just fabulous little accommodations. And there's so many trails in the park, and you can go fishing from the park. You can walk the trails. Look at that gator. Yeah, you'll see gators. Don't be afraid of them. Gators and hurricanes get a bad rap from down here. It's really not a thing. Let's see. Oh, and look how close we are to the Keys. So from Fort Lauderdale to Key Largo is an hour and a half. Another easy ride. So you want to go across the state and go to the West Coast and see the Gulf of Mexico and see Naples and Fort Myers and all that, 2 hours. You want to go leave Fort Lauderdale and take a trip down to Key Largo, hour and a half. And then you pass Key Largo, then okay, Tavernier's a lovely place. You can go diving and fishing down here. Wonderful diving and fishing. And then, of course, all the way to Key West if you want to do the Key West thing, which is also fun. That ride to Key West is about 4 hours, but still not bad. Take a 4 hour, and the ride is gorgeous. And then you get to Key West, relax, enjoy the vibe, and stay as many days as you want, and then come back up to Fort Lauderdale. Easy peasy. Look at that. We're all on the same screen here. So that's kind of a quick overview of Fort Lauderdale. If there's anything else you want to know about Fort Lauderdale, just let me know. You can call me, you can text me, you can WhatsApp me, or you can just reach out in the comments, and I'm happy to share more with you because there are lots of things to do. Look at that in Fort Lauderdale. The Riverwalk, fabulous. The Museum of Discovery and Science with the IMAX Theater, historic Stranahan Museum. Bonnet House is historic and a great museum, and also live music. Birch State Park. We have a lot of parks in Fort Lauderdale. If you want me to do a separate video on the parks, I'm happy to do it, but I don't want to bore you too much. I've been going on and on here. I just can't help myself. So anyway, that's it. Anything else you want to know, hit me up in whatever method you want to, and I'm happy to share more about Fort Lauderdale, the city that I love.